Huawei have released now the MatePad 11. It is a smaller version of the MatePad Pro that I reviewed, the 2021 model. This has a 10.95-inch screen. However, it is 120 Hz, a much faster, smoother refresh rate. We've only got 60 with the larger model, and it's an OLED screen. This one is IPS. Now, this tablet is powered by the Snapdragon 865. It does have 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage. I've got the attachable keyboard and the stylus too. This is a review loan unit that was sent out to me from Huawei. And what do we get with the MatePad 11? So we've got a Type-C to Type-A cable. They do include a 3.5 to Type-C adapter. So no, it doesn't have a 3.5mm headphone jack. Most tech and tablets do not nowadays. There is a micro SD card tray tool. No SIM support with this particular model, and the charger. So this charger here is called Huawei's Supercharge, 22.5 watts maximum output, and it takes around 2 hours and 45 minutes to fully charge the MatePad 11. So this tablet feels good. It's solid. It has a plastic frame around the outside, plastic here on the rear, but the materials are great. There is no flex in it. It has an internal metal frame, and it is alloy, I believe, that they are using with that. It feels really solid, really strong, and quite resistant to fingerprints here. So on the back, we have a 13 megapixel camera, and this does have a microphone and an LED flash, as you can see. On the right side, we've got 2 speakers, 2 of 4. Our Type-C port here does not support video out, sadly. If you want the video out from the Type-C port, you need to get the larger Pro version with that. And then on the other side, another 2 speakers. I'll give you a sample of them later on in this video. Our power button. And along the top here, we have 3 microphones, our volume up and down buttons. Now there is a front-facing camera. This one is 8 megapixels. And I will give you a sample of that one now. Now I do like the quality I'm seeing here with these cameras. Good audio. Of course, I do have some bright lights on at the moment. So how is this front 8 megapixel camera going to fare when I turn off those bright lights? It's actually doing okay. It looks so much brighter than what it really is in this room. It's quite dull, and it's doing an okay job considering those kind of conditions there. So overall, for a tablet, I think it does have good mics and good cameras. Then our accessories. So this one has a synthetic material on the back with a nice texture to it, adds to the grip of it. It offers protection for the rear, clips on magnetically, and I'll show you that shortly. But this part here is nice and soft, so this is not going to be scratching the plastic on the rear of the tablet. Cut out, of course, for the cameras. And we have the 2 positions there that you can sit it upright in. So one angle that's better for, I think, using on a table, other one if you're going to be using it on your lap. And the magnets are quite strong with this. So it does have this reasonably good layout. I do like it. Now there are a few compromises around this area with the space that we have on offer. Remember that this is 10.95 inches, this tablet. And of course, with the larger model, you see that this keyboard is definitely a lot better. I like the shift key on this one. The enter, it's more comfortable to type on. Still, for the smaller size, I don't find it is that bad at all. So I'll show you how it clips in, that you simply just need to place it there and it will attach in with the magnets. It's quite strong, and then you can prop it up. That is the first position, and then we have the second position. Again, the magnet at the bottom there is very strong, so if I lift that up, give it a shake, it is really not going to go anywhere. And when you're using the tablet and you press on the screen, you get a little bit of wobble, but overall it's not too bad. So this tablet here has an upgrade over the larger version, and that is its refresh rate. So the screen, 10.95 inches, which I often just refer to as 11 inches. I round it up there. IPS panel, 2560 by 1600 resolution. That means it's a 16 by 10 aspect ratio IPS screen here. Now the blacks in the screen here don't actually look too bad at all for an IPS panel. You can see the bezels here, which by the way are about 6.5 millimeters around this screen. There's not too much of a difference between the black there. You can see it, you can distinguish the difference, but trust me, it's not bad. Other IPS tablets that I've been looking at, more budget ones, this will be coming up as more of a lighter gray color when it is trying to display just pure blacks there. So dark mode clearly on at the moment. Eye comfort mode, we've got ebook mode, scaling, text size can be changed, and we've got the color mode options there too as well, that if you want a more natural tone that I prefer, or you can go ahead and just adjust that to whatever you like, your own personal preference there. Now, triggering gestures and our touch response, very good. I have not had any problems with it. And here's the options we do have with the refresh rate. So I've kept it on dynamic because I want to get the combination of the best battery life. And I have not seen too much of a difference. When it's swapping, you don't actually see it, because if you're looking at content, it's just 60 Hertz. The refresh rate's in 60, so it really makes no difference. And then in the UI, it's 120, so it's nice and fluid and smooth with that. But you can force it onto high and keep it at 120 Hertz, or of course use 60 to save a little bit on battery life. And then our OS with this one is, of course, Harmony OS. Now, this is new from Huawei. Now, there was some confusion when I reviewed the larger model of this. People didn't really understand that. Is it running Android? Can we install APK files? Yes and yes. It does run Android. It's Android-based, okay? And you can install APK files. So swiping here from the top, we do have all of our toggles will come through. I'm not running a commercial version of the firmware because this is a review loan unit from them. So there could be some minor differences here, but overall the experiences should be the same. Swiping down here, we have our toggles, straightforward. You got Huawei Share as well. And there's a lot of different things you can do. You can split screen applications. Now, if you wanted to find those favorite games and apps, and what happens if they're not actually going to be in Huawei App Gallery. So I just did a search here for Gboard, I want as my keyboard, and you'll see that the results, it's not in the App Gallery, but because it's now incorporating Petal Search, it's pulled through alternatives for me. So it's found an APK file I can install, which I've done. So I have Gboard now on this. That is possible. Now, the good things to point out too as well, that Netflix, it can run in full HD. We do have a DRM level 1 security level, okay? And you can see the supported codecs, HEV support, VP9 is all there. However, I need to point out that with Amazon Prime Video, which I will just get into now, where is it? This one, I was actually just watching a little bit of Expanse. This is in standard definition, sadly, and you do notice that with the quality, it doesn't look so good. When you go over to the data rates in the settings of Amazon Prime Video, for example, so I just go through to my stuff, and I need to find that. I'll just show you that when you look at the streaming quality, best is very low, 0.46 gigabytes per hour. So definitely standard definition. But other things like Disney Plus, Netflix is in full HD on this model, which is good. So there is some compromises, and with a lot of the typical applications that I would normally use on a dedicated Google Play system, I can't here. But Gmail can be accessed via the email application. Google Maps, we've got Petal Maps. Browsers, there's so many to choose from. I've got Dolphin browser that I'm using at the moment. And the list goes on. There are alternatives that you can use, and you can find workarounds for pretty much every single app now. So it's not so bad. Now, I do have some synthetic benchmark figures here to show you. This is the storage, so 128 gigabytes worth, and I have 6 gigabytes of RAM. Now, those speeds are excellent. Random reads, random writes, sequentials, and a sequential write. Of course, this is all powered by the Snapdragon 865, which is a last-gen flagship chip. And performance throughout has been very, very good. Even with the 6 gigabytes of RAM, I'm not seeing really any lags or anything when using this tablet. So Wildlife, this is a 3D Mark synthetic graphics benchmark. You can run this on your own tablet or your phone. And this score is for the Snapdragon 865. It's a good score. I ran it then with the stress test. So that's the repeat test. I think it loops it up to 20 times. And it didn't really throttle, 99.6%, so it dropped down only 0.4%, indicating that really it did not throttle at all. Thermals are excellent on this tablet. It's not like a phone. This, of course, has a much larger area to dissipate the heat away from the Snapdragon 865. And the 865 is not hot like the 888 is. Audio performance now. So on this particular model, the 4 side-firing speakers, that if you're holding it like this, you can block them sometimes a little bit, but they do sound really good. Nice bass, good mids, and some treble in there too. I would rate them to be very similar to that of the Xiaoxin Pad Pro from Lenovo, the Galaxy S7 Plus from Samsung. It is really right up there that they are impressive speakers, and here's a sample of them at 100% volume. Now the M Pen stylus, so this is an active digital stylus. It has a rechargeable battery built within it, charges wirelessly, and you just dock it onto the top. Magnets will then hold it into place, and it will tell you the battery life percent. Now it does charge rather quick, it only has a small capacity battery in there. Has palm rejection, 4096 levels of pressure sensitivity. So when I hold it around about there, about a centimeter away, it then will not do anything. I pull it up about 2, 3, 4 centimeters now, you can see that I can easily mark there. So just do a very quick handwriting example. This, by the way, the app is called Sketchbook. Hello world, very poor handwriting there. It is fast, the latency is good. So just scribbling here, I'm pressing very lightly. In fact, you couldn't even see that come through. So very light and even lighter now, and I'll press down harder and harder there. Pressure sensitivity is working well. Now in the corners, it won't work right up to the very edge depending on the app. So if I zoom in here a little bit, no, it doesn't want me to do that, but around about there, and in fact, now it's actually letting me get right into the corner there. So drawing straight lines, they're not gonna jump all over the place here. And you can see again that that latency is good. It's quite a quick pen, but it certainly is no Apple Pencil or S Pen. Not quite as good, I find. But overall, it is a very good stylus though, don't get me wrong. And our battery life, I do think it's very good considering I've been running 120 Hertz, well, the dynamic option, which does swap over to 62. So a 7,250 milliamp hour battery, I have 23% battery left, and I've got an on-screen time here of almost 8 hours. Mostly media consumption, so Netflix streaming, Amazon Prime Video, some PUBG. I think this is decent. Now, if you do force it to just 60 Hertz, expect more. Or if you run and force 120 Hertz throughout the UI, then of course you will get less than what I'm getting here. So just take this as a guide, but overall, very good battery life. Lastly, over to our gaming performance now. So this title, everyone knows pretty much, PUBG. So I've selected HD and Extreme frame rate, which is good. HDR can also run Extreme. Ultra HD, that is an option, but then it drops the frame rate down to Ultra. So I don't want that. I want the best possible frame rate, which is Extreme. Let's take a look and see how it runs. Now this performance, as expected, is really quite good. No lag, looking down the sights, looking around everywhere, just seems to be fine down the iron sights. Able to get kills, and Smoke and everything's not going to lag it out. As expected for a Snapdragon 865, still a very good chip, that the performance is great here with the Extreme frame rate option. Excellent keyboard to type on, although yes, it is a little bit more cramped than the larger MatePad Pro version, but still with the space they've got, they've done a very good job with it, I think. We've got the two different levels, so you can pop it up that way or there, and the magnets are quite strong with that. The stylus, M Pencil, active stylus here, very good, no real issues with it. Palm rejection, pressure sensitivity, UI performance is great. It's faster, the UI, and more smoother, more fluid, because of the 120 Hertz there that we've got versus the MatePad Pro. Now I've got a full in-depth review, also the same style as this one, that one, so if you're interested, check it out. But synthetic benchmark wise, this is the one that's going to win all the time. It is an absolute monster, very good performance out of it. Larger keyboard, OLED screen is better to look at, but limited to 60 Hertz, that's IPS. And 120 Hertz. Now battery life, very, very similar. And the most important thing is real world use in the UI applications. Really seems about the same on both of these models. Price tag, this is cheaper as well, so I'd probably go for that one. Now it really comes down to what I mentioned before is application support, app gallery. I know I've talked about it before, that it's getting better. We just need more developers on board, which eventually is going to happen, but it's just a matter of time really, isn't it? Before they start to move over to that. So there are a few workaround applications that you have to go for. Now pedal search being there is good. So it can find APK files we can install to get those apps that you know and love, but certain games just won't run without Google services, which I've come across. And it's up to then the developers to remove that limitation and just let it run without Google services if they can make it standalone. And it's going to happen. It will, trust me, but it's going to take, as mentioned, time there with that. And the other thing is the 22.5 watt charging isn't exactly super fast, so it does take a little while there. And an all round great tablet here for the price with the MatePad 11. So thank you so much for watching this in-depth review. Do check out the review of the Pro version if you are interested. Of course, there is a link in the description and there should be a card popping up now of that one.